guns are you? You sit there and like practice your drawing. Absolutely, man. I just all right, let me fix the boots. You guys get Chimaev yet? He already did his. Over here. Yeah, dude, you could try to dry hump my leg all you fucking want, dude, but you ain't gonna fucking work.
Squeeze off your head, dude.
I did
the training. Yeah, you coach Eric takes off me from you. I squeeze off your leg, man. You was tapping all the time.
Squeeze up, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I squeeze all juice out of you, man. You America love me, bro. You nobody loves you.
Oh yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Oh yeah.
All of these guys love me. Nobody
guys.
loves you. Only your daddy loves you. Hey, look at his face. He started to cry now. Of course, I bully you.
Dry hump your leg. You ain't gonna fucking bully me.
Hey, I'm gonna bully you. I did that before.
Shit, bro.
I gotta bully you.
I'm gonna send you back to your daddy Cordero. You ain't gonna do shit.
So what? So what now? You talk so much shit about me now.
Rob versus Strickland, bad blood. If you talk about top 5 UFC fights of all time where the guys have serious hatred between them, I'd put this at number 2 behind Conor and Khabib. And the only reason I'd take Conor and Khabib over it was what happened over in Brooklyn leading up to that fight. And it should be a good one, man. 2 of the best guys in the world don't like each other. Should be a great night. And the
champion himself. He's always been around the top of the division. Not scared of anybody at all. I think that he could use his unorthodox striking, and hopefully he's definitely going to come in really fit. So he just needs to keep getting up, keep not showing Khamzat that he can hold him on the floor. I think it all comes down to the first couple of grappling exchanges. If Strickland can keep getting up, I think maybe we'll start to see Khamzat slow down a little bit, because we've seen that in other fights before. Strickland can win by jabbing him and putting him on the end of the awkward shots and tiring him out and putting him on the back foot.
I've got a feeling on your verdict. Shall we get into it?
The verdict is, for me, Khamzat by decision, I think.
Same as DDP.
Similar.
Too strong on the
ground. I think it'll be a little bit more competitive than the DDP fight, but I think that Khamzat by...
In there with Chimaev, having seen what Chimaev can do once he gets his hands on you, and he will, because he shoots from so far away, and he commits wholeheartedly, and he will get you to the mat. It's what happens after. Seeing that he has the cardio to be able to do that for 5 rounds as well, mate, it's gun to my head.
I believe that Khalil could go up to heavyweight, and he would have those heavyweights paying him the same compliments that he's paying Chimaev. So are the compliments fair? Yeah, sure, that's Khalil's opinion. But is it because Chimaev is so good, or is it just because he's the champion from one weight class down? I suppose we wouldn't know. But the hardest guy to face is not the guy in your weight or the guy above you.
One asked me before the Fluffy fight.
Yeah.
I would have said, there's no way. I think Sean's great, but you know, he's just going to be another victim for Khamzat. But after watching him fight Fluffy up close and personal, again, cage side, man, I think Sean could pull this off, man. I'm actually thinking if that Sean Strickland shows up, I think he pulls this off, man. I think he defends a couple shots. He will get taken down, but I think he gets back to his feet. And then if he can get his jab going, his jab and those teep kicks going, because what Sean does well naturally is already a good defense towards a guy like Khamzat. And it's not like he's got to do anything different. Just what he does good naturally is already a good start for beating a guy like Khamzat. So him adding on to that, I think, man, if the guy who fought Fluffy shows up, he beats
Are you giving him a chance here against Khamzat? Like, we saw some pretty good wrestling takedown defense against Hernandez.
No, I'm not giving him a chance. You know, Hernandez and Khamzat are completely different levels of grapplers and the way they approach their strategy. So I think Khamzat's going to take him down and submit him. You know, obviously, you know, Shmo went and watched them spar back at Extreme Couture a couple years ago, and he pretty much said like it wasn't competitive. Khamzat was just taking him down and submitting him. So I expect that same game plan. He's not going to be stupid and strike with Sean, you know, and make it a kickboxing fight. He's just going to make it straight grappling, and you know, I think he's going to put Strickland in some really bad positions and either submit him or...
I was like, man, how you beat Khamzat? I was like, you let him body lock you. They're like, why would you let him body lock you? I was like, he has no fucking post. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, think about it. He has no post. He grabs the body lock. You have your arms. I call it cobra back. You get your cobra back. You start kneeing him. When he goes to take you down, you come up because he's breaking his posture, and then you're able to, sweep him or throw him. It's a theory of mine, but when I sit there and watch him, when he fought DDP, each time he was, he grabs the body lock, he's all in on that body lock.
It's not the cleanest.
It's not the cleanest, so you have to cause that friction with these guys who maul people, so.
Fight Week always has a way of silencing distractions and pulling focus onto what actually matters. Now, focus is fixed on what might be one of the most fascinating pairings the middleweight ranks have seen in a long while. Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland are on a collision course. The nearer that night gets, harder it is to think about anything else. Siders have been dissecting this fight from every conceivable angle. No consensus has emerged. If anything, disagreements have only intensified. What makes this matchup so hard to call is that each man embodies something legitimate and battle-tested at the sport's top tier. Khamzat gives opponents nowhere to breathe, collapses distance instantly, decides where the fight takes place. He holds the grip with a steadiness that few fighters at his level can maintain through an entire training camp, alone once the cage door shuts. The reason his opponents so often look like they're fighting from behind before the fight even truly starts. Imposes a tempo that forces the other man into reaction mode instead of initiative. That alone has been enough to unravel fighters with impressive resumes walking in. Strickland lives in an entirely different headspace, mentally and stylistically. His fighting identity isn't rooted in a tightly scripted game plan executed to the letter. Built on something far tougher to prepare against, refusal to back from discomfort, willingness to keep grinding through moments that would make most fighters flinch or retreat. Stepped into the cage against men considered too dangerous for him and left having proven those forecasts wrong. Track record reflects someone who doesn't judge a performance by its polish, by whether he's still upright and still pushing forward once it's finished. People covering this fight have been strikingly split. That division says a lot about how evenly matched this really is. Normally, Fight Week, momentum in the discourse tips one direction. This time it hasn't. Every confident argument for one side gets met by an equally confident counter for the other. Once the cage locks and the outside noise disappears, the only real question left is whether Strickland's unique blend of grit and unpredictability can crack a pressure system as refined and unrelenting as Khamzat's. It's the crux of this whole fight. Nobody has managed to settle it convincingly. Sonnen had a front row seat to Khamzat Chimaev's training sessions that included Khalil Rountree Jr. What he described afterward immediately grabbed attention. Normally, people talk about elite camps. Expectation is two high-caliber athletes pushing each other in a way that's demanding but balanced. Sonnen's description broke from that mold entirely. Depicted a training dynamic where the pressure clearly ran in one direction, not in a way that read as ordinary camp fatigue or an off day. Sonnen didn't speak in vague terms. Said Khalil looked shaken. The word choice carries weight, as physical depletion during high-level camps is something everyone expects to see from the outside. The legs, finished output, or recovery are all routine. Sonnen pointed to was something else entirely. Noticed something in Khalil that suggested the experience of sparring with Khamzat was compounding, layer upon layer, physical strain stacking onto something that looked more psychological. The blend of the two was visible enough that it couldn't be dismissed by anyone watching closely. After sharing what he'd personally witnessed, Sonnen expanded into a bigger picture observation about the sport that carried genuine substance. Argued that champions celebrated for moving up in weight and beating bigger men often carry a blind spot that only surfaces under one specific kind of stress. Those same champions face someone coming up from a lighter division, someone whose speed and timing were forged in a faster game, with tools the champion has never had to prepare for. Outcome can flip in a direction nobody saw coming. It was a strong claim. Sonnen backed it with first-hand observation and pattern recognition solid enough it couldn't be waved away without real consideration. Sonnen then posed a deeper question, without a tidy answer but worth sitting with anyway. Looking at what he'd seen from Khalil in those sessions, wondered whether that reaction was unique to Khamzat specifically, meaning nearly any fighter would respond the same way to his particular skill set, whether it hinted at something bigger about how champions across MMA struggle against a very specific style of threat. Landed on the latter. He laid out his reasoning methodically. Stance was that the common wisdom about where a champion's greatest danger comes from is often mistaken. Feels intuitive to assume a bigger, heavier fighter moving down from above poses the biggest risk. History in this sport tells a different story. Fighters who've caused the most unexpected trouble for champions have often come from below, being the physical gifts of a lighter weight class paired with technical sharpness built against opponents suited for that quicker style. Those elements combine against a champion who's never had to solve that exact puzzle. Results can be startling. Sonnen offered two examples to back this up. Referenced the matchup dynamic between Khamzat and Islam Makhachev, case where pressure and physical attributes from a smaller weight class created problems a champion had to take seriously in ways his usual preparation hadn't accounted for. Then linked that to Islam against Ilia Topuria. Another instance where a smaller, technically precise fighter created visible discomfort for the champion. Both cases, same pattern repeated. Danger rising from below was real, consistent, something the sport hadn't fully reckoned with in conversations about championship-level advantages. Whether that same pattern applies to what's about to unfold between Strickland and Khamzat is something worth keeping in mind heading into fight night. Everything laid out here builds toward a matchup that resists a tidy foot in prediction. That's part of what makes it so compelling to follow. Anand brought something concrete and credible to the table. First-hand account of what he saw in the gym, with the broader case he built using real fight history. This take more weight than the typical fight week speculation. Wasn't guessing blindly. Was drawing from direct observation and from results that already happened inside the cage. Here's what always complicates analysis at this level. Fighters aren't standing still while everyone else builds their theories. Strickland is well aware of the chatter surrounding this fight. He's heard the talk about Khamzat's pressure being something different. Something that's broken fighters who came in with strong records and real self-belief. If his career has shown anything, that this kind of doesn't rattle him. If anything, fuels him. Khamzat, meanwhile, kept training as though this is anything but a routine assignment. Reports from his camp, including Sanan's account, describe someone approaching this fight with the same relentless intensity that's defined his entire career. Mix of physical output and mental commitment is exactly what makes him so hard to prepare for, as his pressure can't simply be neutralized by knowing it's coming. Once the door shuts and the two of them are left alone to settle this without outside interference, the theories fall away and the real answers begin to surface. Both men have built strong resumes proving they belong in this conversation. Both will walk in with something to prove. What's left now is to watch it unfold and see whose version of this fight actually comes true. Drop your prediction in the comments. Explain your thinking. Keep the discussion going. Comes out on top here. What does their route to victory really look like once it's tested under real pressure?